Okay, so the 5 editorials that we will be seeing this week are, first one is One Nation, One Election. Okay, One Nation, One Election. So this is based on the Cohen committee report, which has been submitted. Okay, so Cohen committee, that is Cohen is a former president, and a committee working with him has submitted a report to the current president, Draupadi Murmu madam, and they've made suggestions regarding holding one simultaneous elections in the country. So we'll be talking about that. That is the first one. And next, we will be talking about marine heat waves. Okay. So recently there has been a report of incidents of marine heat waves where oceanic waters in Atlantic region experienced high temperature. So in that regard, we will be talking about marine heat waves, why marine heat waves are increasing in frequency these days, and what can be the possible effects of increased marine heat waves. That is the second one. And third is on, the third one is on, it is about the human development report. Okay, it is a human development report of 2023 to 2024. So that has been released recently. Okay, so we will be discussing that. It's a very crucial report. And then we will be talking about the World Happiness report of 2024. So this also was released recently. So we will be talking about world happiness. So this report talks about the well-being and happiness of people worldwide, and how about and how happiness and well-being are also crucial indicators for a nation and people's well-being. So apart from GDP, happiness has become an important parameter to assess these nations these days, and it becomes crucial, especially in the era of sustainable development. Okay, so we will be talking about this happiness index and happiness report, and we will also be discussing a little bit on non-personal data. So what is this non-personal data? What can be done with non-personal data? What does the government plan to do with it? Okay, what is India's policy regarding non-personal data? Such kind of things we'll be discussing. So now we'll go into the editorials part. Okay. So One Nation, One Election. So One Nation, One Election, actually it has been, or you can say, this is also called as simultaneous elections. Okay, One Nation, One Election is also called as simultaneous election, and it is also called a simultaneous election, and the president, former president Cohen headed committee. So they have given the suggestions for the nation to go ahead with simultaneous elections. So when we say simultaneous elections, it can include, it can be of two types. One is that it can be for the parliament, and parliament in the sense the Lok Sabha. Okay, Lok Sabha and the state legislative assembly. Okay, or it can also be Lok Sabha, state legislative assemblies, and local bodies. Okay, so it can be parliament and state legislative assemblies, or it can be the the Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly, or it can also be Lok Sabha, state legislative assembly, and local bodies. So these bodies, they either go to poll to poll on, okay, so they either go to poll on the same day or within a short duration span. Okay, so either they go to poll together on the same day, say ஒரே நாள்ல வந்து எல்லாருக்கும் vote பண்ணுவோம், or within a short span they'll be going. Like right now, for it has been suggested by the committee that we should conduct Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly elections together, and local bodies should go to polls within 100 days from that. So that has been the suggestion that has been given. So a little bit of history. Actually, India went, when India started off as an independent country. So the first elections were conducted in 1952. So this 1952 election was actually combined election for the states and the center. That is the state legislatures and the parliament, the Lok Sabha, all of them went to polls together. So this was the case in 1952, and after that 1957, then after that 1962, then 1967. So till this, all the polls that happened were simultaneous polls. That means the Lok Sabha elections were happening, the state elections were also happening. So both were actually happening. And later on, what happened was that 1967, the Lok Sabha election, the Lok Sabha which got elected did not complete full tenure. And here and there in the state level also, election was not, the houses did not complete the tenure. அதாவது அவங்களும் வந்து 5 years முடிக்கல. So அங்கங்க சில ஸ்டேட்ஸ்ல வந்து dissolution நடந்துருச்சு. And Lok Sabha also premature dissolution happened. So that we call as 1967, there was a premature dissolution of Lok Sabha. So because of this, the simultaneous election model got distorted. So எல்லாரும் வந்து எல்லாரோட election cyclesum வந்து vary ஆக ஆரம்பிச்சிருச்சு. So later on, different people in the sense, the Lok Sabha, different states, all of them started conducting elections at separate times. Okay, so that is how it was. And now when we are suggesting one nation, one election, we are again trying to return back to this old model. So அதுதான் நம்மளோட objective. பழைய model என்ன இருந்துச்சோ அதை திரும்ப கொண்டு வரணுங்கிறது. So this committee has actually given certain recommendations. Okay, so what were the recommendations given by the Kovind committee means? So first of all, they have said that Article 82A, okay, there is a need to insert an article called as Article 82A, and by this, President gives a day called as appointed day. So after general elections means Lok Sabha elections. After Lok Sabha elections, there will be a day called as appointed day. And appointed day na enna, Lok Sabha election la முடிஞ்சிட்டு government form ஆகி when the first parliament, அந்த புது parliament வந்து உட்காரும்போது, so let's say they are joining on June 15. So June 15 ukanda, that June 15 will be counted as appointed day. Okay, June 15, 2024. Okay, so after election, after counting and all that. So on the day வந்து appointed day ன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. And அப்போ 5 years குள்ள election, so the tenure is 5 years, right? அது வந்து it means by June 15, 2029. So before June 15, 2029, next cycle of elections should have happened, and புது government வந்து form ஆயிருக்கு. So இந்த டேல வந்து இந்த house, இந்த elected house ஓட tenure வந்து இந்த டேல வந்து முடிஞ்சிரணும், and அதுக்கு முன்னாடி வேற elections and all that should have happened. Okay, so this is called as appointed day. So இது என்ன day அப்படின்ட்டு insert பண்றதுக்கு வந்து Article 82. This committee has suggested that Article 82A should be inserted. And it is also known that between June 2024 and between June 2029, Okay, between June 2024 and June 2029, many states are actually having elections. So இப்போ தமிழ்நாடுக்கு எலெக்ஷன் இருக்கு, வெஸ்ட் பெங்காலுக்கு எலெக்ஷன் இருக்கு, அந்த மாதிரி நிறைய பேருக்கு இருக்கு. பட் இதுல வந்து என்னன்னா, as a one, this committee has said that, okay, so June 24 to 2029, so states having elections, okay, so those states will have premature dissolution of house. Okay, அதாவது அவங்களோட elected body வந்து premature dissolution ஆயிடும். 5 years term முடிக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடியே dissolution ஆயிடும். லைக் இப்போ தமிழ்நாடுல வந்து 2026ல எலெக்ஷன்னா 31ல தான் டென்யூர் முடியணும். பட் அந்த 31 முடியறதுக்கு முன்னாடி 2029ல டிசால்வ் ஆயிடும். So this will actually be a one time measure. இந்த ஒரு வாட்டி மட்டும் இப்படி நடக்கும் அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லி this committee has suggested. Okay, this one time because we need synchronized elections. This time alone we have to do it like that அப்படின்னு suggest பண்ணிருக்காங்க. And they are also justifying saying that Article 83 and Article 172. So this, they are saying that these two articles say tenure of Lok Sabha. Okay, the tenure of Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly. Okay, tenure of Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies, that it is actually less than, it is 5 years. Is 5 years unless dissolved earlier. So in the மாதிரி constitutional எழுதிருக்கு. அதாவது according to Article 83, tenure of Lok Sabha வந்து 5 years. According to Article 172. So this is for Lok Sabha and this article is for state legislative assembly. So இந்த ரெண்டு ஆர்டிகல் என்ன கொடுத்திருக்காங்கன்னா tenure வந்து 5 years unless dissolved earlier. So 5 yearsல fix பண்ணி fixedன்னு சொல்லல. It is a fixed 5 years in constitution எழுதுற. If it is not dissolved earlier, it is for 5 years. It has been stated like that. So this committee is saying for once, this one time alone, we'll have to dissolve like this. We have to do the premature dissolution. They're justifying with this article. Okay. So this recommendation they're given, and after that, then they've also said synchronization of local body polls. Okay, so along with the parliament and state legislatures, local body polls வந்து சேர்க்கணும் அப்படின்ட்டு இந்த கமிட்டி சொல்லிருக்காங்க. And அதுக்கு அவங்க கொடுத்த சஜஷன் என்னன்னா, they are saying that Article 324A, okay, like this one article has to be inserted. Okay, Article 324A has to be inserted to enable Parliament to make, okay, Article 324A has to be amended to enable Parliament to make a law. Okay, make a law enabling synchronized elections for local bodies within 100 days. So in the committee என்ன சொல்றதுன்னா, local body election வந்து இன்னும் ஒரு 100 days span குள்ள நடந்துடணும் அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. Okay, so parliament and state legislature வந்து same timeல நடக்கும், same dayல நடக்கும். இன்னொரு 100 days குள்ள local body electionும் நடந்துடணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. And actually, why they are saying Parliament should make a law means, as of now, Parliament under the Representation of People Act 1950, 1951, இதுக்கடியில் தான் they are conducting elections to the Parliament, the Lok Sabha and state legislatures. Okay, so அந்த மாதிரி like that, there is a need for, and that law does not include local body elections. So local body incorporate பண்ணனும்னா, then there is a need to make laws. Okay, and what is this? And then this committee has also said there is a need to amend Article 325. Okay, so என்ன சொல்லிருக்காங்கன்னா, Article 325 amend பண்ணனும். எதுக்காக amend பண்ணனும்னா, to have combined electoral roll. Okay, electoral roll and EPIC. EPIC na electoral photo ID card. So இப்போதைக்கு எப்படின்னா இப்போ வந்து எலக்டோரல் ரோல் வந்து எலெக்ஷன் கமிஷன் ஆஃப் இந்தியா கிரியேட் பண்ணுது. பட் தட் எலக்டோரல் ரோல் வந்து ஃபார் எவ்ரி டெரிட்டோரியல் கான்ஸ்டுவன்சி ஒன் role is created and that is used for parliament அதாவது general election and state legislative assembly election. இப்போ என்ன பண்ணனும்னா they have to coordinate. Now the ECI actually has to coordinate with state election commission. Okay, ECI has to coordinate with state election commission. Okay, state election commission in the local body election in the electoral rolls. Electoral roll means the voter list. Adha electoral roll nu solluvom. So article 325 edu comment pannuna because ECI is making electoral roll only for the parliament and the state legislative assembly elections. Now they have to coordinate with the state election commission and make a combined electoral roll not just for parliament, state legislature, but it should also include the voter list of the local body polls. So adhayum incorporate பண்றதுக்கு article 325 amendment தேவை. Okay, and இந்த ரெண்டு provisions-உம் வரணும்னா for making this 324A and 325 article come, that is provisions relating to elections to local bodies. In the local body election provisions நடக்கிறதுக்கு வந்து இந்த ரெண்டு constitutional amendment-உம் they need ratification of more than half of the state. Okay, this article 324A and 325 to modify this to facilitate synchronized local body polls. இதுக்கு மட்டும் constitutional amendment with ratification of more than half of the states. அதாவது 29 states இருந்துச்சுன்னா ஒரு not 29, now we have 28 states. No, 28 states இருந்துச்சுன்னா ஒரு 15 states அது வந்து இந்த ப்ரொபோசலுக்கு வந்து அக்ரி பண்ணணும். Only then synchronized election can happen for your local body polls also alongside. But அந்த இதுக்கு first election சொன்னோம்ல, state legislative assembly வந்து dissolve பண்ண, அந்த state legislature dissolve பண்ணி லோக்சபா கூட சேர்ந்து நடத்துறது. So for that states ratification is not needed. Only in the local body election the states have to ratify. Okay, so if at all they ask in the prelims, if they ask whether for that state ratification is needed, அதுக்கு தேவையில்ல. Okay, state வந்து கழிச்சிட்டு you can directly do it with the parliament elections. But if you have to synchronize the local body elections also with parliament, for that state approval is actually needed. I mean, yeah, state approval is needed. Okay, so more than half of the states have to support. That means 15 states are support பண்ணும். And the states வந்து அவங்களோட assemblyல வந்து simple majority is enough. Okay, the state legislature is there, no? So in that assembly simple majority is enough, special majority தேவையில்ல. Okay, so you can say by simple majority. And after that, so these are the amendments suggested. Shall I change? Okay. அதுக்கப்புறம் வேற என்னன்னா, this committee has also asked to submit plan. அதாவது இந்த கோவன் கமிட்டி வந்து they have said ECI and state election commission, so all of them you have to coordinate and submit a plan to us. எப்படி நீங்க இதை நடத்த போறீங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லி. Okay, so they have to submit a plan regarding a voter registration, a ballot box demand, VVPAT எத்தனை தேவை, so everything. So what the full scheme, framework for election. So என்னென்ன logistics, எவ்வளோ security force தேவை, எவ்வளோ polling booths தேவை, so everything, because local body க்கும் சேர்த்து நடக்கணும். So டக்குன்னு வந்து the country has to be conducting lot of elections. Okay, so together usually எப்படி நடக்கும்னா parliament elections நடக்கும், அப்புறம் சில ஸ்டேட்ஸ்ல அங்கங்க நடக்கும். So we will have adequate number of ballot boxes. இப்போ வந்து பார்லிமெண்ட்டுக்கும் ஸ்டேட்டுக்கும் தனி at the timeல நடக்கணும்னா அத்தனை ballot boxes நம்மகிட்ட இருக்கா, that is the question that arises. Okay, and எல்லா ஸ்டேட்ஸும் போல்ல இருக்க போறாங்கன்னா more of security forces will be needed. Do we have so much of police to deploy? ஓகே, அப்போ அவ்வளவு போலீஸ் வந்து நம்ம எலெக்ஷன் டியூட்டில போட்டா will the national security police மட்டும் இல்ல, when we put armed forces also inside, will the national security get affected, will the law and order get affected? So all these things have to be thought about. So அதுக்காக தான் வந்து இவங்க வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நீங்க எங்கிட்ட பிளான் சப்மிட் பண்ணுங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லி told this ECI and state election. Okay, so these are actually the recommendations of the committee. And yes, and now coming to why this model அப்படின்ட்டு பார்த்தா, so now the question comes, why simultaneous elections? Okay, why simultaneous polls? So why simultaneous polls now? Country constantly in election mode. So constantly election mode na enna nadakuduna, எங்கேயாவது ஒன்னு சென்ட்ரல் எலெக்ஷன் நடக்குது, எல்லாம் சில ஸ்டேட்ஸ்ல நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு, here and there somewhere the election is happening. And when it happens, even the central ministers, let's say even there are elections in northeast states election நடக்குது, அந்த டைம்ல சென்ட்ரல் கவர்மெண்ட்க்கு எலெக்ஷன் இல்ல, லோக்சபா எலெக்ஷன்ஸ் இல்ல, but still even the central ministers, top leaders of the country, they go there for campaigning. Not just northeast, let's say there's election in some southern state, there is election in central India, Madhya Pradesh, அந்த மாதிரி எங்க நடந்தாலும் டெல்லியில இருக்கிற மினிஸ்டர்ஸ், யூனியன் கவர்மெண்ட் மினிஸ்டர்ஸ் கூட போய் கேம்பெயின் பண்றாங்க. Okay, so what happens is that not just ministers, anybody can go. Okay, there's a rule called a star campaigner, and the popular people from the party will go. So அது வந்து ஸ்டார் கேம்பெயினர் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி அங்கங்க போய் கேம்பெயினிங் மோட்லேயே இருக்கிறதுனால they do not time to get focus on governance issues. Okay, so constantly in election mode. So leaders caught in campaign. Okay, leaders are caught in campaign, and also you can say governance takes backseat, because whenever a political party is there, அவங்களோட political career, political mileage தான் boost பண்ண ட்ரை பண்ணுவாங்க, any party. So அவங்க வந்து campaigning போகணும், even if the leader doesn't want to do it, the party leadership, the party will order him or her to do so. அவங்க கண்டிப்பா campaign பண்ணி தான் ஆகணும். So like these kind of things will be there. So governance la focus பண்றதை விட்டுட்டு election மேலே focus பண்ணிட்டு இருப்பாங்க. That is one. And election time now, there is also imposition of model code of conduct. Okay, so this is not legally enforceable. Representation of People Act, this is actually you can say enforced by Election Commission of India, and there is no legal backing. Okay, so these things you have to know about model code of conduct. So legal backing illa, but implement பண்றது வந்து Election Commission of India. So model code of conduct வந்துச்சுன்னா, so lot of rules will come about. So once elections announce பண்ணிட்டோம்னா இந்த rules வந்து kick in ஆயிரும். It is basically to ensure that people in power do not misuse their privileges. The government funds use பண்றது, இல்ல அதை யூஸ் பண்ணி advertise பண்றது, okay, அவங்களோட achievements வந்து திரும்ப மக்கள்கிட்ட காமிச்சு trying to brainwash like that. So those kind of rules அது வந்து prevent பண்றதுக்கு MCC help பண்ணும். Then to prevent hate speech, so many things are there, okay, in MCC. And one another part of MCC is that once the MCC is announced, the government cannot announce projects like laying of roads, சில welfare schemes, அதெல்லாம் வந்து announce பண்ண முடியாது. Okay, they cannot announce after the elections are announced and after MCC comes into force. So this is also actually hindering governance. Okay, so if they cannot announce schemes and all that, that will also hinder governance. Okay, there are restrictions on how the public exchequer money should be used. Okay, so அதுவும் வந்து so public money எப்படி யூஸ் பண்றதுங்கிறதுல restriction இருந்தா, then people's welfare cannot be like what to say, அது வந்து forefrontல வைக்க முடியாது. Welfare will take a back seat. So இந்த மாதிரி பிரச்சனை இருக்கு when model code of conduct comes about. And why, yeah, so more elections means another problem is it can lead to hate speech. Okay, polarization. So எல்லா பார்ட்டிஸும் மாத்தி சண்டை போட்டுட்டு இருப்பாங்க. ஸோ அது வந்து பார்ட்டிஸ்குள்ள மட்டும் நடக்கிறது இல்லாம it spreads to social media. ஸோ அது ஒரு பீப்புளுக்கு நடுவுலவே ஒரு ஃபைட்டா மாறிடும். ஸோ without focusing on issues like governance and development, people's welfare, இந்த மாதிரி இல்லாம சோஷியல் மீடியாவே வந்து போலரைஸ் ஆகி பீப்புளே போலரைஸ் ஆகி இந்த பார்ட்டி அந்த பார்ட்டின்னு சொல்லி ஃபைட் பண்ணிட்டு இருப்பாங்க. ஸோ இந்த ஃபைட் வந்து த்ரூ அவுட் எப்போ பார்த்தாலும் எலெக்ஷன் நடந்துட்டு இருந்தா அந்த ஃபைட்ஸ் இன்னும் ஃப்ரீக்வெண்ட் ஆயிடும். இல்லை ஒன்ஸ் இன் 5 years தான் இந்த மாதிரி எலெக்ஷன் நடக்க போகுதுன்னா அட்லீஸ்ட் த ஃப்ரீக்வன்சி ஆஃப் தட் fight will reduce. So that is the thing. And also it can lead to problems like regionalism, communalism. Okay. So may affect national harmony. Social fabric of the country may be affected. So in the many problems also. Any change? Next problem enna, when a lot of elections are there again and again, government is trying to take to populism. So ஏதாவது பாப்புலிஸ்ட் ஸ்கீம்ஸ் அனௌன்ஸ் பண்றது, இல்லைன்னா அந்த ஃபார்ம் லோன் வெய்வர்ஸ் அந்த மாதிரி பண்ணுவாங்க, ஆர் தே கோ ஃபார் லைக் ஃப்ரீபீஸ். ஓகே, பாப்புலிசம், ஃப்ரீபீஸ், ஃபார்ம் லோன் வெய்வர்ஸ். ஓகே, ஸோ இதெல்லாம் பண்ணும்போது இட் வயலேட்ஸ் ஆக்சுவலி physical discipline and physical prudence. So adu vandu compromise aayirudhu because everybody is in a hurry to catch power. And next problem is that you can say frequent election means voter fatigue. Okay, frequent election can lead to voter fatigue. அடிக்கடி ஒரு வாட்டி லோக்கல் பாடிக்கு போய் ஓட் பண்ணணும், அப்புறம் இன்னொரு வாட்டி போயிட்டு வாட் இஸ் தட் ஃபார் ஸ்டேட் லெஜிஸ்லேச்சர் தே ஹேவ் டு வோட், அப்புறம் இன்னொரு வாட்டி பார்லிமெண்ட் எலெக்ஷன்ல ஓட் பண்ணணும். இந்த மாதிரி அடிக்கடி பண்ணணும்னா voter fatigue may happen. So that may reduce the turnout in elections. But in the committee என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னா, not the committee, generally what is being said is that frequent election leads to voter fatigue. Election வந்து once in 5 years அப்படி நடந்துச்சுன்னா it will be like once in a 5-year exercise. So that time the enthusiasm to vote will be more. So voter turnout can actually increase. What கம்மி frequency-ல நடந்துச்சுன்னா voter turnout increase ஆகிற possibility இருக்கு. And so these are actually the reasons, main reasons actually why the simultaneous polls are being asked for. Okay. And coming to what is the reason for not accepting against simultaneous polls. So these are the reasons why we want simultaneous polls. Against simultaneous polls in abdin pata. One is that regional issues may go out of focus. Okay, so national polls நடக்குது, regional polls நடக்குதுன்னா இப்போ நம்ம தமிழ்நாடு issues யோசிக்கிறது பதிலா all India issues யோசிப்போம். And what may, or another thing that may also happen is when we tend to vote for a party in the center, அதே டைம்ல நம்ம ஓட் போடுறதுனால ஸ்டேட்டுக்கும் வந்து இவங்க வந்து இந்த ஸ்டேட்டுக்கு அப்ரோப்ரியேட்டா இருப்பாங்களா அப்படின்னு யோசிக்காம ஸ்டேட்லயும் அதே பார்ட்டிக்கு ஓட் பண்றது. ஸோ regional issues may go out of focus and probably may affect voting behavior. That is voting for the same party in center and state. Okay, இல்ல ஸ்டேட்ல ஒரு பார்ட்டி சூஸ் பண்ணிட்டு சென்ட்ரல் இந்தியா, அதாவது நேஷனல் கவர்மெண்ட்டுக்கு வந்து அது அப்ரோப்ரியேட்டா இருக்குமா அப்படின்னு யோசிக்காம மேபி that state government, that particular party may be in alliance with other national level parties. Okay, so அப்படி ப்ராப்பரா யோசிக்காம அனலைஸ் பண்ணாம voting like that. Okay, so that is called the affecting of voting behavior. ரெண்டு இடத்துலயும் சேமா vote பண்றது. So that can be disadvantages. Regional issues may go out of focus. And the states, which have small regional parties. Okay, so other than BJP and Congress, there are other parties in India. So அது வந்து regional parties and state level parties. So இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு election நடந்தா வந்து they may feel left out because அவங்களோட party வந்து small party and they may feel a little insignificant in the election. Okay, so that is another thing. And also another problem is that reduces accountability. So this is a very important thing, because once in 5 years தான் போல்ஸ்னா அப்புறம் then first 3 years வந்து சரியாவே ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ண மாட்டாங்க, சரியா கவர்னன்ஸ் இருக்காது, பீப்புள்ஸ் இஷ்யூஸ் நிறைய இருக்கும். Then next 2 years before the elections are going to come, that time alone they will be working and trying to appease the people. So reduced accountability வந்து இன்னொரு problem. And third, next problem is infrastructure. Like, do we have adequate அது பேர் என்னது EVM, ballot box, electronic voting machine, VVPAT machine? Okay, so எல்லாத்துக்கும் சேர்த்து எலெக்ஷன்ஸ் கண்டக்ட் பண்ணணும்னா immediately we need more of all this. So இவ்வளவு நம்மகிட்ட இருக்கா நம்ம கண்ட்ரில? And security forces, இது வந்து ரெண்டு இடத்துலயும் எழுதலாம். You can write as advantage also. You can say frequent-ஆ வந்து deploy பண்ண தேவையில்ல அப்படின்னு சொல்லி you can write as an advantage. அப்படியும் எழுதலாம். But sometimes you can say எல்லா எலெக்ஷன்ஸும் நடக்கும்போது you need more of security forces. So எல்லா ஸ்டேட்ஸும் வந்து எலெக்ஷன் மோட்ல இருக்கு. நிறைய போல் பூத்ஸ் இருக்கும், நிறைய கார்டிங் சென்டர்ஸ்ல வந்து பேலட் பாக்ஸஸ் இருக்கும், அதை வந்து கார்ட் பண்ணணும். ஸோ அவ்வளோ போலீஸ், அவ்வளோ வந்து மிலிட்ரி பர்சனல் do we have? That becomes a question. So you can write it here or there, depends. எங்க பாயிண்ட் கம்மியா இருக்கும் அங்க போட்டு you can alter it accordingly. Okay, so these are the things for against. And better, yeah, so these are the factors against. And then you can say that this is a very crucial factor, and most importantly you can, okay, in the conclusion you can write that India is actually a federal country. Federalism is a basic structure. So அதுல அந்த சுப்ரீம் கோர்ட் கேஸ்லாம் எழுதலாம். கேஸ்வானந்த பாரதி கேஸ்ல வந்து Supreme Court gave the basic structure of constitution, and in that federalism is one very important basic structure. So simultaneous elections nadanda, we should ensure that federalism does not get damaged, and simultaneous elections நம்ம நடத்தும் போதும் we should ensure that we are functioning properly as a federal country. So states oda consultation எடுத்துட்டு we should hear what their grievances are. So center and state should collaborate. They should hold dialogue, trust building, consensus, all that should be done, and then only this model should be facilitated, right? Okay, so these are the things about what is this combined election. Okay, and next is marine heat waves. So marine heat waves, no, it is a so if you have to define marine heat waves, it is a period of elevated sea surface temperatures. Okay, so you can say 3 to 4 degrees Celsius above normal, happening for 5 days or more. So 5 days continuously. Okay, continuously 5 days or more continuous. Okay, you're getting this word, no, it's temperature. Okay, so 5 days or more continuously. So இதை நம்ம வந்து marine heat wave ன்னு சொல்லுவோம். So இப்போ why this is in news means a body called as Copernicus Climate Service. Okay, Copernicus Climate Change Service. Okay, Copernicus Climate Change Service. So இவங்க வந்து என்ன சொல்லியிருக்கிறாங்கன்னா, in Atlantic Ocean they have observed that Atlantic ocean in Feb 2024. Okay, Feb 2024 la Atlantic Ocean la இவங்க என்ன observe பண்ணிருக்காங்கன்னா, they have observed a sea surface temperature of around 20, the value is 21.06 degrees Celsius. Okay, so global average. Okay, not just Atlantic, I'm sorry, you can say global average. Yeah, so this much of sea surface temperature has been observed. Okay, so global average வந்து this is a number which is high, and this actually indicates ocean warming. Okay, so it is high, it indicates ocean warming. So இதுதான் வந்து this is the find out, and why it is happening அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா, analyzing why. So one is that recently there was an El Nino event. Okay, so world வந்து ஒரு El Nino event just witness பண்ணி முடிச்சிட்டு வருது. So El Nino actually led to warming of waters in equatorial Pacific. Okay, so Pacific region la warming நடந்துச்சு, and globally all the waters are mixing, so this could have contributed to global increase in sea surface temperature. So did I use the term SST? Okay, so SST, whenever you talk about these ocean kind of issues எல்லாம், marine heat waves எல்லாம் சொல்லும்போது அந்த SSTங்கிற word யூஸ் பண்ணணும். Okay, SST stands for sea surface temperature. So El Nino வந்து ஒரு இது. அப்புறம் இன்னொரு ரீசன் என்னன்னா, weaker than usual winds from Sahara desert. The Sahara desert la இருந்து வந்து winds வந்து blow ஆயிட்டு இருக்கு, and these winds are actually winds are somewhat weaker than usual. Winds வந்து ஸ்ட்ராங்கா இருந்தா, Sahara desert la இருந்து blow பண்ற winds ஸ்ட்ராங்கா இருந்தா, what happens is they will bring lot of sand and all that. So Atlantic Ocean region kulla what happens is they bring sand, and when that sand comes, it forms a sort of an umbrella. So ஒரு umbrella மாதிரி ஃபார்ம் பண்ணிட்டு sun rays உள்ள வரத வந்து to some extent it will reduce. Okay, it will lead to reflection and scattering of light, and the sunlight which is warming the water surface will reduce. So இப்போ வந்து because of weaker than usual winds from Sahara desert, that umbrella like formation by sand is not there, and that is leading to greater heating of the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so leading to umbrella formation by sand weakened, and this is leading to warmer Atlantic. Fine. And one more thing, you can also say shipping fuels. So shipping fuels means the fuel which they use for ships. On the fuels la vandu, because of climate change and all those norms, the sulfate content in the fuel used has been reduced. Okay, sulfur SO2 content, so or sulfur content you say. Okay, of shipping fuels having lower sulfur. Even in your BS6 norms now we have less sulfur, right? And the shipping fuels lower sulfur, so that is leading to reduction in sulfur aerosols. So in the aerosols, again, when aerosols are there in the atmosphere, they will reflect the heat, they will scatter the sun's rays, sunlight and all that. So sulfur reduce பண்றதுனால sulfur aerosols குறைஞ்சிருது when we burn those kind of fuels. So அப்படி நடக்கும்போது aerosols இல்லங்கிறதுனால more of sunlight penetration is there. Yes, and next you can say that according to C3S has stated that global temperature presently it is greater than 1.2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Okay, so Paris summit la nama target to cut it down to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. We have a target of controlling to 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial level, but main aim is to control it to keep it less than 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial level. But ஏற்கனவே நம்ம இந்த லிமிட்டை reach பண்ணிட்டோம். And C3S has also stated that GHG emission this year has been the highest so far. Okay. So the atmosphere is warmer. Okay, so warmer atmosphere, when it is coming in contact with ocean, it leads to heat transfer. Okay, leading to ocean warming also. Okay, so by contact, warmer air contacting with ocean water can lead to ocean warming. Sea surface temperature in vara nama solrom. So air warmer irundhuchna that can contribute to ocean warming. That is one. And also another thing is that atmosphere la presently CO2 is actually more. Okay, so CO2 more na ocean water absorbs, and this is also leading to problems like ocean acidification and okay, write this. And other some crucial points which you can use here are IPCC 2021 la ஒரு report கொடுத்தாங்க. On the 21 report la அவங்க என்ன சொன்னாங்கன்னா between 1972 to 2016 the frequency of marine heat waves has doubled. Okay, 1972 to 2016 la the frequency of marine heat waves has doubled அப்படினு சொல்லி IPCC சொல்லிருக்காங்க. அது ஒண்ணு. And one more, global state of climate report. Okay, so this is a very important report, global state of climate report. So it's important from prelims point of view also. So this is actually released by World Meteorological Organization. So WMO தான் global state of climate report release பண்றாங்க. So 2023 reportல அவங்க என்ன சொல்லிருக்காங்கன்னா, okay, in the 2023 report they have stated that there is 66% probability, okay, of temperature rising 1.5 degree above pre-industrial level in at least in any 1 year, at least between 2023 to 2027. அவங்க என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா, in the global state of climate report 2023 which has been released by World Meteorological Organization, அவங்க சொல்றாங்க there is a 66 probability of temperature rising 1.5 degree above pre-industrial levels in any of the 1 years between 2023 to 27. 23 நடக்கலாம், 4 நடக்கலாம், 5 நடக்கலாம், 7 நடக்கலாம். ஸோ ஏதாவது ஒரு வருஷத்துல இந்த கேப் பிரீச் ஆகும் அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. ஓகே, can we change? So next என்னதுன்னா impact So one impact வந்து ocean warming இது நம்ம பார்த்தோம். Okay, marine heat wave தான் ocean warming னு சொல்லி. All right, ocean acidification. So this is because of CO2 absorption. So airல நிறைய CO2 இருக்கு. அது வந்து ocean water கூட dissolve ஆச்சுன்னா it leads to ocean acidification. Why means H2O plus CO2 is carbonic acid. அதனால. Okay. And in the CO2 dissolve ஆகிறதுக்கு இன்னொரு ரீசனும் இருக்குது. Ocean is warming means CO2 has higher affinity. Okay, ocean water warm ஆகும்போது its capacity to absorb CO2 only is greater compared to oxygen. Affinity and dissolution of oxygen at air water interface reduces. So ocean water warm ஆக so இதுதான் ocean now. This is your ocean and this is air. Okay, this is your air. So இந்த ரெண்டுத்துக்கும் நடுவுல இருக்கிற borderல வந்து இந்த இடத்துல வந்து from here oxygen will penetrate and go into ocean. Okay, so photosynthesis வழியா வந்து oceanல O2 generate ஆகும், oxygen generate ஆகும், that is one. But apart from that, atmospheric oxygen வந்து it will enter the ocean bodies, so it will enter through the surface like this. Okay, so that we call as air water interface. But ocean water வந்து warm ஆயிடுச்சு அப்படின்னு சொன்னா you know the O2's ability to dissolve will be reduced. Okay, so O2's ability to dissolve will be reduced. So O2 dissolves better in colder water compared to warmer water. And after that, next, what is that? Next problem is that it can lead to possible ocean stratification. Ocean acidification only, இன்னொன்னு ocean stratification. That means layers of water with different temperature. Okay, layers of water with different temperature. Appadina, it means that top layer is warmer water, warmest water, then here it is warmer, appadina cool, colder. The many layers, different layers of water will be formed. So what is the problem means? Problem is that it inhibits mixing of ocean water. Okay, inhibits mixing of ocean water. So in the mixing illana enna prachana varum appdin paatha, mixing is very important. Why mixing is important means adavadhu top la ulla waterum keela ulladum vandu yen mix aganum appadina the top layer of water, because it is at air water interface, it will have oxygen. Okay, and the bottom layer of water will generally be rich in nutrients. Okay, so top layer has O2 and bottom layer has nutrients. Okay, so top la irukra O2 வந்து கீழ fish swim ஆயிட்டு இருக்கிற அந்த fish மத்த organisms வந்து போகணும். அந்த organisms க்கு O2 கிடைச்சாதான் they can survive. And கீழ உள்ள nutrients வந்து எதுக்கு மேல வரணும்னா there's a phenomenon called as upwelling, you know, right? Upwelling in நம்ம சொல்றோம். So through that upwelling, when the colder waters come to the top, what happens is and the we have no on top we have something called as phytoplankton. Yes, so this one will carry out photosynthesis. அது photosynthesis பண்றதுக்கு வந்து கீழ இருந்து nutrients வரணும். And இந்த phytoplanktonனால photosynthesis பண்ண முடியலனா this can affect the aquatic ecosystem, because phytoplankton is the main producer of aquatic ecosystem. Phytoplankton is eaten by zooplankton. Zooplankton is eaten by small fish. Small fish is eaten by large fish. So it's the aquatic food chain. Phytoplankton or food production affect achna, that can affect the entire aquatic ecosystem. Okay, so ocean stratification is a problem. And we change. And after that, So what can be the impacts out of this means? So in the acidification, stratification இதெல்லாம் நடக்கும்போது possible events can be coral bleaching. So ocean warm ஆச்சுனாலே வந்து that can be one in a one that reason is enough for coral bleach. Ocean acidification is also another threat to coral reef. Okay, why warm is means and the coral reef வந்து ஒரு temperature tolerance வந்து maybe around 21 to 29. So அதை விட வந்து சில இடத்துல waters வந்து warmer ஆகும்போது it can go you know அந்த என்ன நடக்கும்னா அந்த your corals will be there அதை சுத்தி your zooplanktons will I'm sorry phytoplanktons or zooxanthellae will be there. So in the zooxanthellae வந்து பிரிஞ்சு போயிடும். So that we call as coral bleach. So coral bleach incidents நடக்கலாம். அதுக்கப்புறம் dissolved oxygen கம்மியாச்சுன்னா it can lead to dead zones because of low or no dissolved oxygen. So dead zone means nothing will survive there. Okay, dissolved oxygen இல்லைன்னா மற்ற aquatic organisms ஆல அங்க இருக்க முடியாது. So coral bleach and you can say mass fish kills. Okay, so this is one impact of dead zone, mass fish kills. Fish lots and lots of fish will die when there is no dissolved oxygen. And then next problem is it can lead to severe hurricanes, storms, more severe hurricane and storms. அதுக்கப்புறம் so these are the common effects, and apart from that it can also affect the migratory pattern of aquatic species. Okay, இப்போ நம்ம இந்தியன் கோஸ்ட்ல எல்லாம் வந்து olive ridleys are coming to lay their you know eggs. So அந்த time of migration, season of migration, pattern of migration இது எல்லாமே change ஆக chances இருக்கு. And one more observation is that warming Bay of Bengal. Okay, so Bay of Bengal warm ஆனதுனால the possibility of more depression. Depression-ங்கிறது low pressure center in the Bay of Bengal. The low pressure center in the Bay of Bengal that we call as depression. So in the depression இருக்கும்போது so basically it's a low pressure center, and so monsoon seasonல இந்த depression form ஆச்சுன்னா இங்க form ஆன depression வந்து landக்குள்ள வரும். Okay, it will form in the Bay of Bengal and then these low pressure center will travel into land. So landக்குள்ள இது travel ஆகும்போது what happens is your monsoon winds will be blowing like this, southwest monsoon. Okay, so southwest monsoons இப்படி blow ஆகுது. The depressions வந்து ocean warming நால more and more of depressions are formed and they are traveling into land. So in the depressions இங்க வரும்போது they will attract more of these winds and these areas can maybe receive higher monsoon rainfall. So you can say and possibility of more depressions and greater monsoon rainfall in tracts. So எங்க அந்த டிப்ரெஷன் வந்து இப்படி ஓஷன்ல இருந்து டிராவல் ஆகி எந்த இடத்துக்குலாம் போதோ அந்த இடம் வந்து லோ ப்ரெஷருங்கிறதுனால ஓஷன்ல இருக்கிற லோ ப்ரெஷர் வந்து இங்க வந்துருச்சுன்னா the land will have the low pressure, so that low pressure center will attract southwest monsoon winds. So greater monsoon rainfall in tracts of such depression. So there can also be possibility of increased monsoon rainfall. Okay, so இதுதான் வந்து effect of marine heat waves. And the solution means for marine heat waves, you can only suggest that we have to cut down global warming, reduce the burning of fossil fuels, more of afforestation. So நம்ம climate change க்கு சொல்ற solutions தான். So air வந்து இன்னும் cooler ஆனாதான் automatically oceanும் வந்து ocean warmingும் குறையும். In air the CO2 has to reduce, only then that CO2 will not dissolve with water and lead to ocean acidification. So in the solution part you have to just talk about the climate change measures. Okay, and so this is about the thing. And also இப்போ வந்து endல நீங்க conclusion if you are asked a mains question and if you are writing the answer you can say ocean வந்து they have crucial ecosystems and food production important. Okay, and ocean warming இந்த மாதிரி disasters வந்து not at all desirable. Cyclones, hurricanes எல்லாம் severe ஆச்சுன்னா landல வந்து இன்னும் நிறைய பிரச்சனை வந்துடலாம். So we should not take these ocean disasters light. So we should work to address climate change. Like that you can just take. So this is about marine heat waves. And next, recently, okay, so recently Human Development Report of 2023-2024 was released. Okay, so this is a very important report. Yaar in the report release பண்றாங்கன்னா, these facts and all you have to know for prelims also. Okay, it is released by UNDP. UNDP la யாருன்னா Human Development Report Office. Okay, under UNDP Human Development Report Office. So அவங்க தான் இதை வந்து prepare பண்ணி publish பண்ற agency. And this report was actually developed by Pakistan economist. Okay, so அவர் தான் வந்து first develop பண்ணது Pakistan economist Mehboob ul Haq. Mehboob ul Haq. He was the person who first gave this. Okay, in 1990, that time he developed. Okay, the year is not needed. Forget it. Okay, and அந்த டைம்ல வந்தது. And so the parameters taken, parameters for ranking. So in the HDI அப்படிங்கிறது வரதுக்கு முன்னாடி, oh yeah, so it releases what is called as HDI. Okay, Human Development Index அதை ரிலீஸ் பண்றாங்க. So in the HDI concept வந்து yeah, it started in 1990. So அது வரதுக்கு முன்னாடி வந்து what was the norm means they used to assess countries development based on GDP. So pure GDP compare பண்ணி தான் இந்த nation developed இல்ல அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தாங்க. But later on it was it was understood by the world community that development is not just about GDP, it is also beyond GDP. For example, if you say India has the 5th largest GDP in the world presently. ஆனா so much of poverty is there, illiteracy இருக்கு, backwardness இருக்கு. அப்போ நிஜமாவே நம்ம developed அப்படின்னு சொல்லலாமா? சொல்ல முடியாது. So that's why this sort of an index was introduced. And so இதுல என்னென்ன parameters analyze பண்ணாங்கன்னா to check a nation's development. First is life expectancy at birth. அப்புறம் next வந்து per capita income, years of schooling. So years of schooling வந்து ரெண்டு விதத்துல அனலைஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க. expected years of schooling or mean years of schooling. So for a child who is entering into school, அவங்க வந்து இத்தனை வருஷம் ஸ்கூல்ல படிப்பாங்க அப்படின்னு expected years மாதிரி calculate பண்ணுவாங்க. Or they will go analyze people who have completed 25 years of age. So அவங்கலாம் எத்தனை இயர்ஸ் ஸ்கூல் போனாங்கங்கிற இதை வந்து அனலைசிஸ் பண்ணி இத்தனை வருஷம் போயிருக்காங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. So expected years of schooling or mean years of schooling. And the other one is per capita income. So in the parameters தான் analyze பண்றாங்க. And based on this analysis, it was found out that Switzerland, I think. Switzerland, Norway, and okay. So they are the top 3 developed countries of the world. Okay, let's check. Yeah, Switzerland, Norway, and Iceland. They are the top 3 developed countries of the world. Okay, as per the current ranking. And can we change? Bottom 3 countries yaar varangana? இது வந்து top 3. Okay, bottom 3ல யார் means so bottom 3 is South Sudan. Okay, Central African, Central African Republic. Okay, and one more is Somalia. So இது வந்து bottom 3ல வருது. Yes. இந்தியாவோட ரேங்க் வந்து or we will write it separately. We have written this bottom 3, no? And India specific findings. So India specific findings enna, our rank is actually 134 out of 193. So 193 countries analyze பண்ணிருக்காங்க. அதுல நம்ம வந்து 134. ரெண்டு world countries தான் analyze பண்ணல. யார analyze பண்ணலன்னா North Korea and Monaco. Monaco is a small country in the Mediterranean region. அது மேப்ல தெரியாது. Okay, it's a small country in Mediterranean Sea. North Korea, you know, all of us know. So இது இவங்க ரெண்டு பேரும் வந்து didn't participate. Okay, மற்ற கண்ட்ரீஸ்லாம் பார்ட்டிசிபேட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. So in this we are what is this 134th rank. So this is actually we say to 2023-2024 report, but it is based on the year 2022. So இதுக்கு முன்னாடி 2021 year குள்ள ரிப்போர்ட்ல வந்து நம்ம 135 இருந்தோம். Now we have improved one place and gone to 134. And if you compare with South Asian neighbors, Bhutan வந்து 125, Bangladesh வந்து 129. So you don't have to remember exact rank, but just remember that Bhutan, Bangladesh வந்து ahead of us, நம்மளோட முன்னாடி இருக்காங்க. China, Sri Lanka அப்படிதான், அதுக்கும் rank ஞாபகம் வைக்கணும். Something, both of them are in I think 70s. So remember that both of them are in 70s. Okay. So இதுதான் நம்மளோட neighbors ஓட performance. So a little bit of this also you have to know. And India வந்து நம்ம score வந்து okay, shall I rub this? Okay. Our score is actually 0.644 and we are in medium HDI category. Okay, we are in medium developed category. So actually என்னென்ன categories இருக்குன்னா 4 categories இருக்கு. One is very high, அப்புறம் medium, last is low. So இந்த மாதிரி 4 categories இருக்கு. And அதுல வந்து we are in medium. Okay, and India specific findings என்னன்னா life expectancy for us has improved to 67.7 years. Okay, so average life expectancy has improved to 67.7 years. And expected years of schooling, அது வந்து it has improved to 12.6 years. Life 67.7 and expected year of schooling is 12.6. And இன்னொரு per capita income that has increased to $6951. Okay, that has also seen a slight increase, 6.7% increase. அது ஞாபகம் எனக்கு தேவையில்லை, but anyway, compared to 2021, 6.7% increase. So இதுதான் நம்மளோட stats. These are the Indian statistics. Okay, so anything else? Shall I change? So this is actually with respect to Human Development Index, and another index which was released as part of this, or okay, as part of HDI index. The report also found that worldwide HDI inequality is rising. அதாவது the HDI inequality between rich and poor nations அந்த கேப் வந்து எக்ஸ்பேண்ட் ஆயிட்டு போயிட்டு இருக்குன்னு வந்து இந்த ரிப்போர்ட் வந்து சொல்லியிருக்கு. ஓகே, rising. Okay, between rich poor nations. And another find out of the report is that democracy paradox, that is people saying they want democracy but voting for authoritarian leaders. Okay, democracy வேணும்னு சப்போர்ட் சொல்றாங்க, பட் அவங்களோட எலக்டோரல் சாய்ஸ், பொலிட்டிக்கல் சாய்ஸ் பார்த்தா they are voting for right wing leaders. Okay, so pro democracy இல்லாம they are opting for, you can say, authoritarian leaders. So இது வந்து சொல்லியிருக்கு. And also the report also said that this is leading to polarization, inward looking policies, அதாவது pro national policies rather than supporting globalization, anti globalization அந்த மாதிரிலாம் நடக்குது. So that is because of people's voting patterns, polarization and divide in the society. Okay, வேற என்ன கண்டுபிடிச்சிருக்காங்கன்னா 40% of trade in goods concentrated in 3 countries. Okay, 40% trade in goods concentrated in 3 countries. And it has also been found out that market capitalization of 3 largest tech giants. Okay, so the American tech giant companies or market capitalization வந்து greater than GDP of 90% countries. Okay, so in the ரெண்டு stats வந்து it points towards the world's inequality. Okay, so to prove the inequality you can say this. Okay, can we change? அதுக்கப்புறம் இந்த ரிப்போர்ட் கூட சேர்ந்து இன்னொரு இண்டெக்ஸும் ரிலீஸ் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. That we call as, again by UNDP only, along with the HDI report, they've released this gender inequality index as part of HDI 2024 report, as part of human development report. Okay, அந்த ரிப்போர்ட் கூட சேர்ந்துதான் இந்த இண்டெக்ஸும் வருது. So actually in this, India's performance saw a good improvement. Okay, a significant improvement. So நம்ம rank வந்து we are, you can say, we are ranked 108 out of 193. Okay, more than human development index, in the rank வந்து better இருக்கு. Okay, and score wise actually in the GIA ல வந்து 0 means no inequality. Okay, GIA score 0 na no inequality, whereas if the GIA score is 1, it means gender inequality is maximum. Okay, இதுதான். So 0 na inequality இல்ல, 1 na inequality இருக்கு, ஜாஸ்தியா இருக்கு, அதுதான். So India's score in this is so நம்ம வந்து we are actually better than global average and South Asian average. India better than global and South Asian average. So the scores are actually நம்ம இந்தியா ஸ்கோர் வந்து 0.437. குளோபல் ஆவரேஜ் வந்து 0.4. Global average is 0.462 and South Asian average is 0.478. So you don't have to remember the number, just for your understanding. Okay. So 0 na kammi, 1 na jaasti nu sonnonla. So namma vandu we are more on the side of 0, right? 0 kitta pomadana indha number varum. So idella means they have higher gender inequality. Okay. So in the this is a good news for India. And shall I change? But இதுல இந்த இண்டெக்ஸ்ல வந்து நம்ம நெகட்டிவா எதுல பண்ணிருக்கிறோம்னா ஜெண்டர் லேபர் ஃபோர்ஸ் பார்ட்டிசிபேஷன் ரேட், ஆர் யூ கேன் சே ஃபீமேல் லேபர் ஃபோர்ஸ் பார்ட்டிசிபேஷன் ரேட். ஓகே, ஸோ அதுல வந்து ஃபீமேல் எல்எஃபிஆர்ல வந்து தேர்ஸ் அ கேப். ஸோ ஜெண்டர் கேப் இன் ஃபீமேல் எல்எஃபிஆர். ஸோ எவ்வளோ கேப் இருக்குன்னா, மேல் வந்து அரவுண்ட் 76%, பட் ஃபீமேல் வந்து வெறும் 28% தான், according to gender inequality index. So in that parameter India is not performing well. Okay, so அது சொல்லலாம். And shall I change? So in the gender inequality index la எதெல்லாம் அனலைஸ் பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா, what are the parameters they consider means, one is reproductive health, அப்புறம் இன்னொன்று வந்து empowerment, இன்னொன்று வந்து labor force participation. So just now we saw that in labor force participation we are less. Okay, அது வந்து just இப்பதான் நம்ம பார்த்தோம். Reproductive healthல வந்து எந்த so in the at least remember these 3 parameters, it's important. Okay, in your prelims also they may ask எந்தெந்த parameters ன்னு சொல்லி இது இப்படி போட்டுட்டு சூஸ் பண்ண சொல்லுவாங்க. So reproductive healthல வந்து என்னென்ன அனலைஸ் பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா, adolescent fertility. Okay, that is adolescent fertility means birth rate of girls. Okay, 1,000 girls. So in 1,000 girls in the age group of, they may check the age group of 10 to 14 years or 15 to 19 years. So அதுல 1,000 girls எடுத்துட்டு how many girls are mothers அப்படிங்கறத அனலைஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க. So that we call as adolescent fertility. I think mostly they are taking 15 to 19 years only, but in some cases this 10 to 14 also was there. Because 10 to 14 means sometimes they might have not attained puberty. Okay, so that is about adolescent fertility. அப்புறம் இன்னொன்னு என்ன அனலைஸ் பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா, maternal mortality means number of mothers who die per 1 lakh live births. In the definition that you know, so these definitions if you know, number of mothers who die per 1 lakh live births. So 1 lakh women are giving birth to children na, அதுல ஒரு 70 women are dying na, அது வந்து MMR or maternal mortality அப்படி. Okay, and empowermentல எதை அனலைஸ் பண்ணுவோம்னா, in empowerment we actually analyze women, okay, having secondary education, whether they are having secondary education அப்படிங்கறத அனலைஸ், at least secondary education. The percentage of women having, so actually we actually compare it to men, percentage of men having secondary education, percentage of women having secondary education, and analyze பண்ணி compare பண்ணுவோம். Secondary education means 9th standard 10th standard, that is secondary. Okay, அது ஒன்னு அனலைஸ் பண்ணுவோம். So that is in education sector. In education, that is the thing. And one more is in this thing, we analyze parliament representation. Okay, so India in the current Lok Sabha, we have 14.52% of women members. Global average is around 25%. We are less than global average. Okay, so empowerment la idu rendum education paapanga, parliamentary representation paapanga. Okay, parliamentary women representation. Okay, and idla or important step நம்ம எடுத்திருக்கோம் to facilitate parliamentary women representation. 106th Constitutional Amendment Act, through which we are giving 33% reservation for women in parliament and state legislatures. The 106th Constitutional Amendment. But it will come into effect only after next census. Next எப்போ census count எடுக்கறாங்களோ அதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் இது வரும். But remember the number. Okay, mains la கூட கேட்கலாம் இல்லனா prelims-லயும் கேட்கலாம். What is 106th Amendment about? Mains-ல வேற எதுவும் சொல்ல மாட்டாங்க. They'll just say discuss about 106. That means only if you know the thing you will be able to write. Okay. அப்புறம் இன்னொரு parameter what we saw was labor force. So that we know, right? Yeah, third is labor force. LF. So there we saw that gender gap was there. So these are the parameters which are analyzed. Yes. And talking about gender inequality, you can say that women in India face lot of forms of violence, like sexual, domestic, okay, rape, dowry violence. So gender inequality la gender based violence, you can write this. Okay, so நிறைய forms of inequality இருக்கு. So one is gender based violence. So work la பார்த்தா labor force participation rate, அப்புறம் glass ceiling effect. That means women வந்து அந்த higher level in the hierarchy போட மாட்டாங்க, lower levelsல வச்சிருப்பாங்க. So that we call as glass ceiling effect. And or confining them to pink collar jobs, confining to okay. Then higher education enrollment. Primary education enrollment is somewhat becoming equal now. Higher education, the college and higher levels in school, அது வந்து inequality இருக்கு. Girl dropouts. Okay, so these are some of the inequalities that women and girls in India face. Yes. Can we change? So next is actually global happiness. Okay, so world வந்து இப்போ ஒரு லேட்டஸ்டா ஒரு so this is a separate report. HDA ல வந்து அந்த ரிப்போர்ட்ல வந்து HDA-யும் GIA-யும் டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க. This is another separate report called as Global Happiness Report. All these reports came recently, so it's important that we discuss. Okay, this week only I think they came. So இது வந்து எப்படின்னா this is released by United Nations. So okay, why okay right. United Nations Sustainable Development. Okay, United Nations Sustainable Development Solution. Okay, so in the body எதுக்காக develop பண்ணாங்கன்னா to implement SDGs. So அதுக்காக develop பண்ணப்பட்ட body, but they are actually now also releasing the Global Happiness Report. So எதுக்கு இப்படி ஒரு ரிப்போர்ட்னா, so first வந்து நம்ம ஒரு நேஷனோட டெவலப்மெண்ட் அனலைஸ் பண்ணா first and foremost we were calculating through GDP, then we got HDI, அதுக்கப்புறம் HDI-யும் தாண்டி other problems whether male female disparity அனலைஸ் பண்றதுக்காக gender inequality index பண்ணுவோம். Now beyond all that, beyond health, education, and beyond what is this called, GDP and everything, we should also focus on happiness and well-being of people. So it is not about GDP or health alone. There should be happiness, life satisfaction, okay, stress இல்லாம இருக்கணும். So இதெல்லாம் analyze பண்ணணும். ஒவ்வொரு நேஷனும் எப்படி perform பண்ணுது on these kind of parameters, okay, on the well-being and life satisfaction of the people therein. So அதை analyze பண்றதுக்காக தான் this UN brought about this global happiness report, okay, and this was actually inspired by Bhutan. Okay, it was inspired by Bhutan's Gross National Happiness. Okay. So when all nations were doing gross national domestic product, GDP பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கும்போது this country called Bhutan did gross national happiness index. So that only inspired United Nations to formulate. Bhutan பார்த்து inspire ஆகி தான் அவங்க வந்து செஞ்சது. Okay. And now the United Nations Sustainable Development Solution Network is publishing this. And in this, they actually analyze 6 parameters. Okay, 6 parameters are analyzed. So happiness அப்படிங்கறத அவங்க எப்படி analyze பண்றாங்கன்னா, one is, so these parameters, remember, okay, they may ask social support, health, income, freedom, generosity, and corruption levels. Okay, so in the எல்லா parameters analyze பண்ணி தான் they will check whether people are happy or not. So social support now, it depends. Social supportங்கிறது என்னன்னா, the fact that someone has relatives or friends or family, somebody should be there to support every individual. Humans cannot live alone. அவங்களுக்கு வந்து ஏதாவது ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம், ஸ்ட்ரெஸ், சம் இஷ்யூ மீன்ஸ் அவங்களுக்கு இப்படி ஒரு சோஷியல் சப்போர்ட் இருந்தாலே அவங்களால அந்த ஸ்ட்ரெஸ்ஸையும் ப்ராப்ளமையும் வந்து ஈஸியா டேக்கிள் பண்ண முடியும், வாட் எவர் த ப்ராப்ளம் இன் தேர் லைஃப். ஸோ தட் இஸ் வை திஸ் parameter called social support is analyzed. It means the fact that you have someone to count on. That means நீங்க யார்கிட்டயாவது வந்து சப்போர்ட் எடுக்க முடியும், உங்க ப்ராப்ளம்ஸை ஷேர் பண்ண முடியும். That is one parameter. And health, income, health related income is income. Freedom is political freedom, the freedom to express. Okay, so like how in India we have the right to vote, how we have fundamental rights and all that. So that is also one aspect of happiness. Generosity na charity. Okay, so that can also contribute to individuals' life satisfaction and happiness and all that. Corruption level is on the country level corruption level. Lesser level countries which are less corrupt, and the people are more happy. Because when governments are less corrupt, they are more pro people. So government வந்து more pro people மாறிடுச்சுன்னா they will focus more on welfare of people. So government அப்படி welfare of people வந்து forefrontல வச்சதுன்னா they will strive to make people more happy. So these are the parameters which affect. And in this, our rank or the toppers, you can say, the top happy countries world. Finland is number 1. Okay, Finland is the happiest country of the world. Apart from that, we have Iceland, Denmark, Norway, then Israel. So we will talk about why Israel is on that place. Okay, so it is on top 5 countries. Okay, and in Asia, Singapore, Taiwan, they are the toppers. Okay, Singapore, Taiwan, even China is there. So இவங்கெல்லாம் இருக்கிறாங்க. And India, if you see, India is at rank. India is in a bad rank actually. 126 out of 143 country analyzed, we are in 126. So it's a poor rank. And unhappiest country வந்து இது Afghanistan. So you don't have to remember everything, you just remember that Finland is happiest, Afghanistan வந்து unhappiest. Okay, Finland is happiest and Afghanistan is unhappiest. That alone you remember. And இப்போ Israel, so now India is in 126 out of 143. So obviously we are not happy with our ranking. Okay, because ஏன்னா Asia top 5 countries, the Singapore, Taiwan, China is there. So they're like, China is not even democracy. அவங்களுக்கு freedom இல்ல. Their press is not free. They cannot express electoral choices. Only one party is there. Then how come they are there? We are not there. So like that, from Indian side, a lot dissent has been expressed. So we are conveying it to the UN Sustainable Development Solution Network, and we are also questioning why Israel is having war now. அங்க எப்படி ஹாப்பியா இருக்க முடியும், அதுவும் வந்து கேட்டுட்டு இருக்கோம். But why Israel is coming in the ranking means the war started in October, right? But they in this index they use 3-year averaging method. So அதனால because of that 3-year averaging method, and because Israel வந்து அக்டோபர்ல தான் அந்த கான்ஃபிளிக் ஸ்டார்ட் ஆச்சு, அதனால Israel has, that's not reflecting in the Israel's rank. So இந்தியால வந்து இந்த மாதிரி ரேங்க் வந்து கம்மியா இருக்கு அப்படின்ட்டு கண்டுபிடிச்சிருக்காங்க. And this report has actually observed something called as, has made a find out on benevolence, that is helping people who are in need. Okay, helping people who are in need. And okay, benevolence means helping people who are in need. So இதுல வந்து it has been observed that post COVID-19 increase. So COVID-19 க்கு அப்புறம் in the world for the people, overall benevolent levels வந்து increase ஆயிருக்குன்னு வந்து இந்த ரிப்போர்ட்ல சொல்றாங்க. And especially in the millennials generation. Millennials means approximately, Esther, okay, approximately people born between 1981 to 1996. So on the generation level, the benevolence level has increased. Okay, millennials more generous than older counterparts. Okay, so this has been found out. இன்னொரு கேட்டகரி கண்டுபிடிச்சிருக்காங்க, Gen Z means after that, born post 96. அது எக்ஸாக்டா இந்த மாதிரி இல்ல, some little bit of variation may be there. Okay, 96 maybe 98 in some index, அந்த மாதிரி variations இருக்கும். So these millennials and Gen Z are seen to be more generous. That means அவங்க இன்னும் charity எல்லாம் பண்றாங்க compared to people who are older. So அது ஒரு find out இந்த ரிப்போர்ட்ல. அப்புறம் India's case, in India, so we know our rank is, we are not happy with the rank that we have. So இதுல என்ன ப்ராப்ளம் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா, so India specific findings are like people of older age group, அதாவது இந்தியால வந்து greater than 60 years, அந்த ஏஜ் குரூப் வந்து they have more of life satisfaction. Okay, compared to younger people, older people வந்து லைஃப் சாட்டிஸ்ஃபேக்ஷன் ஜாஸ்தியா இருக்கு. ஸோ அதாவது அவங்களோட ரேங்க் அந்த கிரேட்டர் தேன் 60 ஏஜ் குரூப்புக்கு வந்து ஒரு ரேங்கிங் கொடுத்தா, இந்தியாஸ் ரேங்க் யூ டோன்ட் ஹேவ் டு ரிமெம்பர், ஜஸ்ட் ஃபார் யுவர் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங். ஓகே, 121 வருது. Overall we are in 126 rank, but if it is ranked with just the people who are 60 years and above, அந்த மாதிரி ரேங்கிங் பண்ணா நம்ம 121ல இருக்கோம். அண்ட் 30 இயர்ஸ்க்கு கீழே உள்ளவங்களை வச்சு ரேங்கிங் பண்ணா we will be in 127 rank. Okay, so It means that the younger population in India is somewhat more frustrated and unhappy. So that is the find out. Building of older age group. Okay. So yeah, உங்களுக்கு வந்து life satisfaction on what basis they are having means on the basis of marital status. So they may be married. That is probably adding to more life satisfaction. Then health and social interaction. Social interaction means கொஞ்சம் சுத்தி பேசுறது, those kind of things. Okay, to have friendship, relatives கூட mingle, interacting and mingling with relatives, friends, family. So in the மூணு parameters are contributing to their happiness. And if at all they are feeling unhappy, that the report is saying it may be because of perceived discrimination. So அவங்க வந்து they are feeling that they are being discriminated because of age. So அது வந்து one cause of dissatisfaction அப்படின்னு ஒன்று சொல்லியிருக்கு. And also their health. So these are the good health means they're happy, but when they have health issues and problems, that is contributing to bringing down their happiness and life satisfaction. And if also they're feeling that they're having discrimination. And in the older age group, yeah, important now we are having actually 140 million people greater than 60 years. Okay, 140 million people greater than 60 years. And this number actually is the second largest in the world after China. So China la தான் largest number of old age people. அதுக்கு அடுத்தது வந்து நம்ம. Okay, so that is with respect to elderly people. And next is people of higher caste group, higher caste groups. Okay, they have greater life satisfaction compared to SC, STs. So SC, STs caste group la it has been found out that life satisfaction is somewhat less because they are facing caste based discrimination. So இந்த மாதிரி issues எல்லாம் இருக்கிறதுனால SC, ST groupல வந்து satisfaction வந்து கம்மியா இருக்கு அப்படின்ட்டு அந்த ரிப்போர்ட் சொல்லியிருக்கு. And another thing is greater life satisfaction is also seen in people with higher education. Okay, so people when they're having higher education and higher caste, they are having more life satisfaction compared to people without formal education and lower caste. Okay, so this is so one is caste, other one is higher education. Can we change? இன்னொரு find out என்னன்னா with respect to India, older people in Western India, they are happier than counterparts in Central or Northeast India. Compared to Central or Northeast India, இவங்களுக்கு வந்து more life satisfaction. So probably this can be attributed to income levels. Gujarat, Maharashtra regions la வந்து those states are richer compared to Central India, Madhya Pradesh, Northeastலயும் அவ்வளவா livelihood opportunities incomeலாம் இல்லை. So it could be due to better income levels. We already saw that income or parameter in நம்ம பார்த்திருந்தோம். So it can be attributed to that. Can we change? Can we rub? And after this, issues noticed, okay, or you can say issues or problems noticed in the world happiness report. So ஒன்னு என்னன்னா gender gap, that is in all regions of the world women are less happy than men in all regions of the world. Women are less happy than men. Okay. And rising disparity or happiness inequality. So like how we have HDA inequality, gender inequality, அந்த மாதிரி happinessலயும் inequality இருக்கு. அது ஒண்ணு. And USA வந்து not in top 20. So first time in 12 years, USA is dropping to a rank like this. Okay, top 20 ல வந்து அவங்க இல்ல. And also another thing that has been noticed is children unhappy, child unhappiness. Okay, child unhappiness, especially in North America, Western Europe, that is developed the world nations. இந்த இடத்துல வந்து children are unhappy, so that trend has been noticed. Okay, so probably அவங்களுக்கு play time இல்ல, அப்படி ஏதாவது இருக்கலாம். They are not going out much, they're all confined to homes alone. அப்புறம் இன்னொரு another thing that was noticed was the issue of loneliness. So loneliness problem was reported by, especially by the millennials compared to. So for millennials, loneliness was a greater problem compared to older counterparts. So means younger people, they are battling this issue of loneliness. Adu vandu that was found out. And another problem in the report may be that people are not reporting the reality. அவங்க வந்து unhappy-ஆ இருக்கலாம், but அதை வந்து வெளியே ரிப்போர்ட் பண்ண மாட்டாங்க. They may be wanting to hide it from their family members, friends. இல்லைன்னா they might be fear from the government. நம்ம வந்து நம்ம ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் வெளியே சொன்னா கவர்மெண்ட் நம்மள சப்ரஸ் பண்ணிடுமோ. So that sort of fear. Not all countries are democratic, right? So false reporting, okay, due to fear of stigma, or stigma means whether the society or family will judge us, and the mari stigma adu one, or the fear of government suppression, because freedom is also one of the index for happiness. But whether they are really free or government கடியில அவங்க ஃப்ரீயா ஃபீல் பண்றாங்களா இல்லையாங்கிறது வந்து அவங்களுக்கு சொல்ல வந்து ஃப்ரீடம் இருக்காது. And whether the government is corrupt or not corrupt, even that they may not be in a position to say. So we cannot say that the reporting, whatever is done, is 100% true. Okay, so that problem is there. Will I change? This is about the happiness index. And இதுல வந்து Finland oda, so in order to make India happy, so we have to take in some best practices from Finland. So Finland, what they are doing is people are living in harmony with nature. Okay, so they're going for sustainable development model. So nature destroy பண்ணி development இது பண்ணாம they're living in harmony with nature. அது ஒண்ணு. அப்புறம் இன்னொன்னு next is that yeah, they are also having what is called as work life balance, work life balance. Then they have trust in their government. Okay, and low corruption levels. Finland and the Scandinavian countries overall, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and the corruption levels low. And government has public welfare policy. Public welfare policy adopt பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Then there is universal healthcare and education. So நமக்கு வந்து universal healthcare education வந்து 14 years வரைக்கும் தான் universal as of now. Right to education is only till 14 years. And healthcare வந்து இருக்கு, we do have government hospitals, but there arises the question about quality of treatment. So universal healthcare நமக்கும் இருக்கு, but we do not trust the government medical care adequately. Okay, so அங்க வந்து the whatever is universal itself is actually of good quality. So அதனால Finland வந்து happy அப்படின்னு சொல்லி கண்டுபிடிச்சிருக்காங்க. And with respect to happiness, so we should say that this should dominate the policy formulation in coming years. So government oda future policy la வந்து happiness ஒரு priority வச்சு எல்லாத்தையுமே design பண்ணணும். Be it education or healthcare or living spaces for people, எல்லாத்தையுமே happiness priority இருக்கணும். And Madhya Pradesh actually has a happiness department. Okay, Madhya Pradesh has a happiness department, like a ministry money. They have a separate department dedicated for happiness. Okay, and you can also suggest that India needs a happiness ministry. Happiness. We need a happiness ministry. Yeah, so is a happiness this is the report. Okay, and next is and also you can add this quote, maybe in essay you can write. Dalai Lama said that the purpose of life is to be happy. Okay, the purpose of life is to be happy. So maybe you can use it. Yes. So, and this is about happiness index. And last editorial is about non-personal data. Okay. So what is this non-personal data? So actually we know that we are living in digital era. So நிறைய data generate ஆகுது, data-based governance is happening. So data is very crucial for every economy. So actually NASSCOM has said that, this institute has said that data and artificial intelligence can contribute greater than around $450 to 500 billion to Indian economy by 2025. So this is NASSCOM report. And digital India நமக்கு $5 trillion economy ன்னு சொல்லும்போதும் அது வந்து நம்ம digital components இல்லாம வந்து we cannot think about it. And whenever we say digital, it is all mainly data driven. So அதுலயும் வந்து data has a role. Okay, so if you look at data, one we have personal data and another one is non-personal data. So now we are going to talk about non-personal data only. Personal data na can identify people. Okay, so with some sort of a data set, when you can identify people, that we call as personal data. Non-personal data na and it can be anonymized data. Anonymized data na personal data la irundhu சில information remove பண்ணிடுவாங்க. ஸோ அதனால அந்த பர்சனல் டேட்டா வச்சு யாரையும் ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ண முடியாது. ஸோ தட் வி கால் அஸ் அனானிமஸ் டேட்டா. இல்லைன்னா அதர் நார்மல் டேட்டா, எனி அதர் டேட்டா, okay, through which you cannot track individuals. So individuals can't be tracked. Let's say like weather பத்தி நம்ம டேட்டா எடுக்கிறோம், ரெயின்ஃபால் பத்தி டேட்டா எடுக்கிறோம். Okay, in Himachal Pradesh state we are going and we are collecting data of roadways, the transport, vehicles that are moving. இதெல்லாம் வச்சுட்டு you cannot identify people. So அதுதான் வந்து individuals cannot be identified, that kind of data. Anonymous data na, let's say they take the Aadhaar data of a person. அந்த Aadhaar data எடுத்துட்டு name remove பண்ணிடுறாங்க. They're removing the phone number. Okay, that means maybe the individual cannot be identified. Okay, better you don't bring Aadhaar data into this. We'll take some other data. Food delivery apps வந்து they're collecting data of people, right? So அங்க வந்து name and the person's address is removed. Okay, so only the gender of the person is there. அவங்களோட food preference என்ன ஆர்டர் பண்ணிருக்காங்க, இப்போ சென்னைனா what maximum people are ordering, so that data we have. On the individual information delete பண்ணியாச்சு. Just to know the eating trends of the people in Chennai, if a food business wants to come up, they can analyze and they can do something about it. So அந்த மாதிரி startups பண்ணலாம், business பண்ணலாம். So that we call as anonymized data. Okay, because you're not taking anybody's information as such. We are just collecting a collective database of many people to understand their behavior and those kind of things. So இப்போ personal data வந்து in India, it is protected by a Personal Data Protection Act. இதுக்கு வந்து we have a Personal Data Protection Act. So இதுக்கு வந்து statutory framework இருக்கு for protection. And here no statute to protect. இங்க வந்து there is no law on how, there's no legal framework on how the non-personal data can be used. But the usage வந்து regulate பண்ண, and to regulate all this, a committee was appointed called as Chris Gopala Krishnan. Okay, Chris Gopala Krishnan committee. Actually Personal Data Protection Act வந்து first வந்து அதுக்கு ஒரு committee recommendation கொடுத்தாங்க. That was called as Sri Krishna committee. இதுக்கு வந்து recommendation கொடுத்த committee வந்து Sri Krishna committee. ரெண்டும் வேற committee. Okay, Chris Gopala Krishnan is a different committee. Sri Krishna committee வந்து வேற committee. Okay, so they gave recommendation. But as of now இது non-personal data protect பண்ண வந்து நம்மகிட்ட laws கிடையாது. Okay, can I change? So in the non-personal data வந்து for non-personal data, budget in 2023. Okay, 2023 budgetல நம்ம finance minister என்ன announce பண்ணாங்க அப்படின்னா, she announced something called as okay, data governance framework policy. Yeah, national data governance framework policy. So இது first என்ன intent ஓட வந்து இத வந்து analyze introduce பண்ணாங்கன்னா, the idea behind this national data governance framework policy was to collect NPD. Okay, I'll be using this term NPD. So NPD means non-personal data. It was to collect NPD from public, private sources. Okay, public அதாவது கவர்மெண்ட் வந்து நிறைய non-personal data இருக்கும், அப்புறம் பிரைவேட்லயும் நிறைய non-personal data இருக்கும். எல்லாத்தையும் சேர்ந்து கலெக்ட் பண்ணி The idea was to create something called as Indian Data Set Program. That means to create a collective database from public and private sources and create a database. So that was called as India. That would be called as India Data Set Program. And இதை வந்து facilitate பண்ண there was one a body called as Indian Data Management Office. So in the IDMO or Indian Data Management Office, we'll see the implementation of this National Data Governance Framework Policy, which will include collection of data from public-private sources and creating Indian data set. So in the Indian data set creation or motive enna, and the idea is to monetize data, share public or like government data to startups, research. Okay. So the idea was to the government wanted to monetize the public data that it had. Okay, non-personal anonymous data, but they wanted to share it with private sectors, startups kuda, research kuda, business kuda share panni. You use this data and develop something. அப்படின்ட்டு government சொல்லணும்னு நினைச்சது. But when this policy was introduced in the budget 2023, because the idea was about monetizing data. So என்னதான் நம்ம வந்து non-personal data, anonymous data ன்னு சொன்னாலும் still it is data of people. Okay, so there may be concerns about privacy, security, so அந்த மாதிரி issuesலாம் இருந்துச்சு. So there was a lot of backlash against this. Okay, this policy against this, people started protesting and they were like, how can you monetize our data? And in protest la innor concern enna that we didn't even have a data protection law. There was no law for non-personal data. So நம்மளோட டேட்டா ப்ரொடெக்ஷன் லா வந்து பர்சனல் டேட்டாக்கு மட்டும் தான். நான் பர்சனல் டேட்டா வந்து எப்படி ப்ரொடெக்ட் பண்ணணும், எப்படி யூஸ் பண்ணணும்னு சொல்லி சரியான லா கிடையாது. அப்படி லா இல்லாத போது நீங்க எப்படி the government, how can it give it to private sector, how can it give it to startups or for any innovation purpose? Like that people started questioning, and because of all that backlash, this was changed. அதுக்கப்புறம் கவர்மெண்ட் வந்து அவங்க ஆப்ஜெக்டிவ் வந்து மாத்திட்டாங்க. Then they said that we are not going to create Indian data set by pooling of data from public and private and all that. அவங்க என்ன சொன்னாங்கன்னா, instead what we will do is clear up this. So அவங்க என்ன சொன்னாங்கன்னா, நாங்க வந்து இந்த மாதிரி பூல்லாம் பண்ணல, அதுக்கு பதிலா we will have just the public data, and with that public data we will have data driven governance. So they said that with public data we will have data driven governance. Okay, so by using artificial intelligence, analytics, innovation. So data driven governance வந்து நிறைய செக்டர்ஸ்ல பண்ணலாம். For example, you can write if one NPD is there. So Himachal Pradesh state பத்தி government has some data, like let's say rainfall data இருக்கு, road or traffic, இது பத்தியும் data இருக்குன்னா. So let's say we have also data about the soil, rock, about that also we have. So when we know about the rainfall, when we know about the soil and what is that rock and all that, and the road level traffic, அதுவும் எல்லாமே தெரிஞ்சா we can actually use it for predicting landslides. So this is a sort of disaster management. So it is a governance application, no? So landslide predict பண்ணலாம். So when you predict, you can mitigate the effect of landslide. You can reduce the economic losses. You can reduce the loss of life. Everything can be reduced. So government said that okay, fine. Because of all this backlash, we are not giving it to any private. நாங்க startups க்கு கொடுக்கல. We will have it for data driven governance. அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லி they changed the objective and they made it like this. Okay. So and also so the concerns with NPD, okay, the concerns with non-personal data is that so no legal protection, okay, and it is lying in silos, means separate இருக்கு. So இப்போ ஹிமாச்சல்ல நம்ம லேண்ட்ஸ்லைட்னு பார்த்தோம்னா அப்பனா we have to collect the rainfall data. Rainfall மட்டும் இல்ல, it can also be during the snowfall data, avalanches பத்தி கலெக்ட் பண்ணும். ஸோ ஒவ்வொரு டேட்டா செட்டும் ஒவ்வொரு டிபார்ட்மெண்ட் கூட இருக்கும். ஸோ எல்லாரும் தனித்தனியா வச்சுட்டு இருந்தா then how will we manage the disaster? Okay, so lying in silos means it is in separate compartments. Okay, so because we do not have a proper national data policy, all these data is in separate compartments. ஸோ இப்போ ஹிமாச்சல்ல வந்து நம்ம லேண்ட்ஸ்லைட் மேனேஜ் பண்ணணும்னா எல்லா டேட்டாவையும் எடுத்து கலெக்ட் பண்ணி கொலேட் பண்ணி ஒரு ஏஜென்சி அதை வச்சு அனலைஸ் பண்ணி பண்ணும்போது தான் we can actually prevent that incident. So now the problem in India is that all the data is lying in silos and unregulated, unsupported, and there is lack of data exchange. The data exchange means between the departments data exchange has to happen. Rate of data exchange and data sharing. So data exchange and data sharing only, then how can we even talk about data driven governance? So that problem is there. Okay, and in Australia and also okay, then you can say this Chris Gopalakrishnan committee, they said share it with private sector to boost business. So this committee recommended like this. So startups and ecosystems க்கு வந்து கவர்மெண்ட் கொடுக்கலாங்கிறது வந்து already Chris Gopalakrishnan committee சொன்னதுதான், but that is also not happening. Okay, so these are the concerns actually. Privacy breach and privacy on the ஏற்கனவே it has been remarked that it is a fundamental right in the Puttaswamy case verdict. Supreme Court வந்து சொல்லிட்டாங்க. ஸோ அதை வந்து நம்ம பர்சனல் டேட்டாக்கு வந்து law implement பண்ணிருக்கிறோம். But in this there is a fear that Article 21 may be breached. Yes. அப்புறம் some best, so இதெல்லாம் concerns. அதுக்கப்புறம் best practices if you are seeing. Australia, okay, they have data exchange policy for governance in areas like housing, agriculture. Okay, so between public and private sectors, data sharing is there. அதுக்கப்புறம் UK and Estoniaல வந்து for addressing unemployment issues. அதுக்கப்புறம் European Union has spoken about NPD data flow for a competitive economy. So competitive economic when the data flow between public and private sectors have to be there அப்படின்னு சொல்லி European Union has remarked. So France also encourages, okay, like that data sharing of the government, between government and private. Okay, so you can say that in the concluding remark, you can say that NPD வந்து there is need for coordination between government, or you can say government, public, then private, and citizens, because it is the data of citizens, right? So these are the stakeholders. So in the moon stakeholders coordination has to be there, consensus has to be there. Okay, with respect to the use of non-personal data. And only then we can ensure proper data governance. Data governance now means the collection, storage, use, deletion norms. அதுதான் data governance. Data based governance na data use பண்ணி governance பண்றது. Data governance na data வை எப்படி manage பண்ணோம், collect பண்ணோம், store பண்ணோம். And also you can say this will also ensure data sovereignty. Data sovereignty no ability of a nation to place norms to control data generated within its borders. Okay. So you should say all this. Okay. So data பத்தி என்ன question வந்தாலும் always அது personal data, non-personal data, bring in those aspects. அப்புறம் the data governance, data sovereignty, அப்புறம் the committees. Okay, Sri Krishna committee, Chris Balakrishnan committee, and there is one law, and the law பத்தி பேசுறது. All these things you just bring in. Okay. So yes, so yeah, that's all for today. Okay, so we are done. I told you last week, no, prelims will change.